Hi there. I'd like to introduce the following presentation by North American Nickel, symbol NAN, on the TSX Venture Exchange. Because of the length of this presentation, we've broken it down into smaller segments for your viewing convenience. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.
So I'm going to quickly introduce the company to you. I'm going to talk to you about the capital structure now. This is an interesting structure in the sense that you'll see down at the bottom the Greenland warrants. It's strange to say, but this is what I want to see happen a year from now. I'd like to see us have 100 million shares out, and I'd like to see us have about $14 million in the bank. And what that would mean is that we have done something significant in Greenland. The stock is traded over $1, and those warrants at 50 and 70 and $1 would be exercised. Those are the warrants that John Ferguson and John Roundtree hold. They brought the Greenland project to us, and John Roundtree and I negotiated a deal where they would see their position, they would see their earned position if in fact the company reached a point where we could safely say we were past the $100 million market cap. So I think it speaks well to their confidence in the deal, and it provides us with fee-free and additional warrant-free financing in the future. The other thing I want to point out here is that VMS Ventures owns 21 million shares. So while it looks like there's 56 million shares out, there isn't in a real trading sense. So we like VMS having the 21 million shares. It's a great asset for our shareholders, but it also provides us, again, structural flexibility to do deals. And at some point with a project this big, as you'll see, it's likely that we'll bring in a partner of size. We're going to hold on to it and maintain 100% of it for our shareholders as long as it's wise, and we think we've built financing structures into that capital structure to allow us to do that. I'll say again that Roundtree is a guy that has his own network, both in Australia and here in Canada. He's of the age, I think he's told me he's going to turn 70 this year. The network of guys that support him are remarkably well-known and successful entrepreneurs in this business. And John certainly is in that club. So I'm going to ask Roundtree to take you through a little bit of his own history and then the Greenland setting. And John will then turn it to John Pattison to focus more on the geology. And I'll come back and wrap it up with our plans for 2012. So I'd like to introduce John Roundtree. John?
I was delighted to last year take this project to North American Nickel and to Rick. As he said, we've known each other for 5 years. And why would I take it to North American? I took it to them for a simple reason that they got good corporate management, and you got to have that. They've got one of the world's best technical teams. John Pattison heads it up. And I can tell you right now, Mark Fedico and these other people in their team are just world class, and especially in nickel, which is what this project's all about. You got to have the team. And so I took it to Rick, and the beauty of that is that they picked this project up only 8 months ago, for heaven's sakes, staked the ground, and got to work within a month. And they took it over, and as you can see here at the bottom of this section, they proved that modern helicopter geophysical technology, EM technology, is capable of identifying nickel sulfide targets for drilling, something that had not happened before. The reason this project's been sitting here for so long, even though it's had exploration on it, is because the technology hadn't caught up with what was needed to find nickel occurrences. This just shows you where the project is in relation to Canada. Everybody knows about the Superior Province, Boise's, Raglan, Thompson, Sudbury. And I show Maniitsoq up in the top right-hand corner there. Somebody with a sense of humor colored it green. But Greenland is just a piece of the Canadian shield, geology-wise. It drifted away from Labrador 65 million years ago to make the Davis Strait. So in geological terms, that was yesterday morning. And so when you're thinking geology, the nickel geology of Canada, which is so prevalent through our area here, it Greenland, you're just on home territory, essentially. I just want to show you this, because on the left you can see the 4,800 square kilometer property that North American Nickel has staked. I just whacked up on here to scale the Sudbury Basin. And that's the same scale as the map on the left. And all I want to say about that is that it's as if North American Nickel walked into Sudbury Basin 150 years ago, when nobody knew about it, and staked the whole thing for nothing. That's where we are with this project. We've acquired something the size of the Sudbury nickel camp, with all the evidence, every bit of the evidence pointing towards that kind of nickel occurrence in a nickel camp. And we acquired the whole thing, the key property, the core property, virtually for nothing. This property has got the guts of one of the great, big, huge nickel provinces and nickel camps that I know about. Why Greenland? Everybody wants to know a bit more about Greenland. And briefly, John Ferguson and I only look in countries with the rule of law. We're not interested in adding risk to exploration. There's enough in it already. By going to countries that don't have what I call the rule of law. That is, you got secure ownership of title and exploration rights, you got access to surface, you got all these things that can't drive you crazy. And that means Australia, Canada, and Greenland. I don't even go outside of that domain. There's enough good geology right there, by the way. So it's a question of mitigating risk. Why take on risk of countries that don't have the rule of law? No thanks. So, as I say at the top here, safe, stable, mining-friendly jurisdiction. They've been mining in Greenland for 140 years. People are not really aware of how much mining has gone on in Greenland. And it's extremely friendly towards it. The permitting process is unbelievably good, better than Canada's. We've got 17 laws you have to comply with to explore in Canada. They've got 2. Their laws cover, in respect of mineral exploration, the right to exploitation, conversion, surface access, environmental rights, Aboriginal rights. They're all built into one act of Parliament. Thank you very much. They're miles ahead of everybody else. And I will say, as some of you know already, Greenland is a territory of Denmark, but it's got home rule. Maniitsoq, for example, wintertime average temperature is -10. Summertime is +10. That's better than the Canadian Arctic by a long way. In addition, that coastline is ice-free 12 months of the year. It's got a lot of infrastructure advantages. It's a tiny country, 56,000 people, would you believe, but incredibly well organized for infrastructure and communications and everything else. I'm going to hand over to John Pattison now to talk about the geology. This is just a regional geology set, so I'll introduce John Pattison now.